All right, people. We'd like to welcome you to the C4C studios, live and direct from your boy Garage.
Yeah.
All right. I am your host for the evening, CEO Juanito.
Yes,
and
sir.
I got Mr. BME himself,
Yeah, man.
Lil Daryl in the building. All
Blue
right.
Money Conversations, man.
Listen, for everybody who know us, they know we about that bread. We about that cheddar, about that fetty, that Parmesan. Like you name the cheese, we about it.
That guapi.
That guapi. But we here today. We got something special for y'all today. We got something special. And the special moment is my man Daryl, we're gonna talk a little real estate.
Yeah.
Talk a little wholesaling. We're gonna talk the process. And he the guru right now. I mean, this listen.
I ain't know. I just started. I ain't know. I'm still a rookie, still learning, but I've had some fast results.
Listen, man.
Not
Anytime
too
you
long,
can pull up and be like, yo, give me a 50 piece, and we ain't talking chicken, we talking real chicken. My man out here getting 50 pieces. You know what I'm saying? With no biscuit, no gravy, just straight 50 pieces. So we're gonna set the landscape straight. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna speak a little bit about the process. So Daryl, if somebody was interested in this wholesaling, this real estate, where do they start, man? Where do they start?
All right. The best way to start is to tap in with your boy. That's how you gotta do it. Tap in for sure. But no, on a realistic note, it's
We need a
starting
tap
off
in
with-
button.
I would say realistically, people need to have just coming into the industry knowing they're gonna have to spend money. So when I first started, I was doing a lot of YouTube, watching RJ Bates, Flip with Rick. Obviously you see a lot of the how to start real estate with no money, or how you can get into real estate with little money. So it's definitely baits people in when you see it. But realistically, this is not an industry where you got to come in with that mindset of, oh, I want to come in scarce and not have to spend a lot of money. So I came into the game knowing I was going to have to spend some chicken, and it definitely expedited the process because I was able to invest into the right systems and processes to get things in motion faster. So the biggest thing I want to say, if someone want to get started, get your money right for leads. Now we're talking about a budget of at least $2,500 or less, right? Realistically, if someone came in having $5,000 budget, that would definitely 10x things a lot faster. But even to having a $2,500 budget, that should be able to make things shake, right? And if I had $2,500 to start, what I would do is I would put $500 into property leads. I would put another $500 into iSpeed lead. That right there is your $1,000. All right. I would spend another $99 on PropStream. All right, so that's your monthly thing where you can get property data and info. So it's definitely a necessary tool to get started.
So y'all might want to pause this because, this was a spirit of moment podcast. So I don't have everything up on the screen, just level for you. So you know what I'm saying? If y'all got to rewind some of these things that he's giving, PropStream, any of the sources that he's tagging, we'll make sure that we tag
we'll drop
those.
the affiliate links below.
Yeah, we'll tag them in the video for sure. But go ahead, finish what you was going.
So PropStream, property leads, iSpeed the lead, and start off with there, right? Definitely use the rest of the budget for skip tracing, which means getting the names and numbers of lists that you pull, but that's for like land and SMS blasting.
So now,
right?
Before we go into the detail though, like we need to go ahead and just hit them with the 101. So explain the process, like minus all of the apps, minus all of the processes and the procedures, right? Like what's the wholesaling process like short term, like 1 through 8? Like what do you do?
So first you have a motivated seller. So it's someone that's in a situation that wants to sell their property. It could be a situation as far as like a pre-foreclosure, death in the family, inherited property, et cetera, right? The list goes on. But first you have someone who wants to sell their property. And you just got to put yourself in between that transaction, so we're high paid middlemen and women, for the women out there. So that's what you're doing. So realistically, you have someone that wants to sell their house. You can assist them in selling their house. You can put yourself in the middle of the transaction, and you just have to help them find a buyer in the simplest terms, right? Okay. So, once you have a buyer that wants to pay for the property, let's say you have the property under contract for $20,000, you know that the property is worth like $100,000, and then you know that you can essentially assign this to an end buyer, a cash buyer, who's willing to pay $40,000, $50,000 for the property, right? And knowing that they're going to have to put some work in and flip it, and they'll make their money on the flip, but as a wholesaler, right, typically you just put yourself in the middle of the transaction and you find motivated sellers, to sell, who want to sell their property.
So basically, some of the apps that you just disclosed, some of those websites, some of those accessories to the process, right? Like they kind of help you kind of gauge and capture some of that information?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
So
okay.
PropStream is the tool where, like, let's say I'm driving right now and I see a house and it's abandoned, boarded up windows, grass tall, and I'm like, dang, this house definitely no one's living in there. It's vacant, obviously, and I mean we know it's vacant and it definitely hasn't been taken care of. The grass is high, the windows are boarded up, so definitely distressed. I would go into PropStream and plug the address in and see who owns that property. Now, what's cool is, let's say John Doe owns the property. It shows the mailing address for John Doe. So I look at the mailing address and I see, okay, John Doe lives in Connecticut. So this is an absentee owner. This is an owner of the property who doesn't even live in the state, right? So what you can do then, now that you have the mailing address, you could skip trace that mailing address. You could put it in a free search engine like True People Search. And now I see John Doe, I match up the information and I see that he has an updated number that was last reported 2 months ago. So that number's more than likely active, and I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna send him a text message or call him.
So pause.
Yeah.
For everybody listening. So it's as simple as, let's just say you riding through and you just see, like you said, it don't have to be boarded up. Maybe you just haven't seen a lot of action in your own neighborhood out of that house. Like you can go on the PropStream.
Yeah.
You can put the address in, find out who owns the property.
Yep.
If they're local, if they're wherever,
Yeah.
and that's basically where you start.
Yeah.
All right. So once you find that information,
Yeah.
right, and then you actually get the process and you get the wheels rolling, what's the next step?
Marketing. So you want to market to that owner. So you can do different forms of marketing. One of my favorite personally is SMS. It's just sending a simple text message. Now you can use that through a text messaging software like REI Reply, or you can just text them on your personal phone. And I would send them a text, hey, John Doe, my name is Daryl. I'm with BME Home Buyers. I actually just drove past your property and I see that it is vacant. And I know you're living in Connecticut. Do you have any chances of coming back to North Carolina or doing anything with the property? If not, I'm definitely interested in making an offer if you're looking to sell.
Okay.
And then, if he has an iPhone and he has his red receipts on, I could definitely see if he read the message. And then, it goes from there. Now, SMS is my favorite because they say text messaging has a 48% response rate. So someone is more than likely going to see that. That's a high-ass rate of them seeing that message.
Better than TV, better than radio, better than newspaper ads, like, you know what I'm saying? Even better than sometime intersection marketing with stakes and we buy houses.
Signs,
so, I got you.
Text messaging, you just send them a direct text. Everyone's on their phone every day, so 9 times out of 10 they're going to see that message, and they're either going to say fuck off or they're going to say make an offer. So one of the two. Now, SMS is my favorite. Obviously, cold calling. Everybody knows about cold calling, so you could just pick up the phone and call that person and just have a direct conversation with them. If that doesn't work and you can't get them via SMS and cold calling, then that's when you can just sell them a regular handwritten letter. You already have their mailing address. You can just send them a letter, and believe it or not, handwritten letters actually have a higher response rate because they know it's not AI or crazy. It's a real person that took their time to write that letter and is definitely motivated to buy it.
Now, everybody out there, I don't know if you peeped it, but his response was really personal, right? He didn't want to seem like he was this corporate entity that was just reaching out. He said, hey, my name is Daryl from BME Properties. Boom, boom, boom. I actually drove by your property. I don't know if y'all caught that, right? I drove by your property. So sometimes I just know personally that people like the interaction and people like to deal with people that are tangible, right? They don't like to deal with people that they have to call and then have to type in a code to get sent to their office. And you know what I'm saying? Like people like that interpersonal connection that they can actually reach out and deal with somebody that's tangible. So first off, that's marketing 101. You have to be tangible.
That's true.
Right? You have to be tangible. So let's just say somebody rolled by the house. They got in touch with the owner. The owner was an active seller.
Okay.
And he wanted to actually, come into contract with you. What's the next steps?
So the next step is to run numbers. The most important part of this business is knowing your numbers and getting the numbers right. So let's just say I see that, I put in the address 123 Main Street. I see 123 Main Street is worth $150,000, as the retail value analysis. So like what that means is like if you go on Zillow or Redfin or Realtor, these are websites that'll give you a retail value analysis of what the property is estimated to be worth. So I see that it's estimated to be worth 150. Obviously, it's not in the 150 condition right now. So, I always like, for me personally, I like the sellers to tell me their number first, right? So I like to ask them different questions like, what's your lowest acceptable offer if you were to sell it? just to get them their number first, because what if their number is lower than what you were going to offer them, right? So
Right.
he who says the number first loses usually. Now, sometimes they're going to be like, well, you make an offer first, and then you can that's when you want to get more details. You never want to give an offer and make any numbers without seeing the property,
Right,
and
right.
obviously if you're out of state, which most of my deals I do virtually, so I'm not able to see them in person, you're just gonna have to be really good at getting pictures from these sellers, right?
So basically, if you're good at what you do, you can be in North Carolina and find a property in California and sell
Yeah.
a property in California.
Yeah.
You don't even have to really be hand in hand in the same state. Nothing special. Any special certificates. Any special anythings that you need to do that?
No. So what good thing about what I do is you don't have to have a real estate license. You definitely have to have the knowledge. So a lot of people think, oh, I don't have to have the license, but that's nothing. I mean, there's people who have the license who still don't have the knowledge of people without the license. So his
Right.
biggest thing is having the knowledge first, and just soaking yourself into that knowledge. Then once you do that, you're really good.
So you make an offer, they accept the offer, you run the numbers. I know we don't have a lot of time to go into specific numbers, maybe on a later podcast, but let's say that you got the offer,
Yeah.
right? They accepted the offer. You know how much money you're making. You're happy with it. The home or the seller's happy with it. What's the next process?
The next process is finding a buyer for the property. So my way to find a buyer. So when I first started this real estate journey, when I watched these wholesaling videos, they would always say, have a cash buyers list or build your cash buyers list. So what that means is if I know, Jeff is up the street and he buys houses, right? And I know that Jeff likes buying 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom houses all day long, 1970 builds or higher, then, I'm pretty much a bird dog. I know what he's looking for and I'm going to go out there and get it for him.
Right.
The only thing about that, though, is when Jeff stops buying and he says, well, Daryl, I'm done buying for the year, your well runs dry. They just cut your water off, So, they say it's good to have multiple cash buyers. And obviously you can find out who's a cash buyer by prop stream and these different platforms. So you'll be able to see, okay, 123 Property Solutions just bought this house for $40,000 cash back in April of last year, right? Then I see that they actually bought 4 more properties in the same neighborhood. So then I put 2 and 2 together. Okay, this is a person that's actively buying in this area, and I see what type of properties they're buying. So I'm going to skip trace this LLC. Now, how I skip trace the LLC is I'll go on a website like Open Corporates, and I'll type in the LLC name, and I'll see who's the registered agent of the LLC. So if I see Juan Cosme owns this LLC, I'm going to then go put his information in True People Search, find Juan's number, and say, Juan, hey, I know you're the owner of 123 Property Solutions. I'm actually the owner of BME Home Buyers, and we actually actively come across off-market properties often. Are you still actively buying right now? And if so, what are you looking for? Then that's how you find a cash buyer. But to me, that's the old school way, though, right? Because like I said, if so-and-so stops buying, now your business is over because they're not buying. That's typically how it is for a lot of wholesalers. They're like, oh, I got 1 or 2 cash buyers I work with, and he buys usually like the beginning of the year, and I'll do a couple deals, and then after that, I'm done. What I utilize is the MLS, though.
That's what I was about to get to.
Multiple listing service. So,
Okay. So explain the MLS and that process, because I know a lot of people may be familiar with it, but they probably didn't know that as a wholesaler that they could do it as well.
Yeah. So realistically, the MLS is the multiple listing source or multiple listing service, either or. And it's a platform that buyers agents and listing agents, licensed realtors or brokers use to view properties, right? Now, you have to be a licensed real estate agent to actually have access to the MLS, right? But you actually don't have to list properties on the MLS. A lot of people don't know that. So realistically, there's a couple ways you can do it.
Say that one more time. Say that for the people one more time.
Oh, a lot of people don't know that you don't have to have a license to list properties on the MLS. Yeah.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So
and I think
you don't have to be a real estate agent.
Nah.
Right? Like you can actually go. Now, how would you get it listed? Being that you're not a real estate agent, how would you go about getting it listed on the MLS?
It's a certain document that you have to have called an AIF. Okay. An AIF stands for attorney in fact. So if you don't have an attorney in fact, and in some states you have to get it notarized, you're not able to list the property on behalf of the seller. So you have to have that documentation. It's the actually most important piece of this whole transaction as well. So you have to have the rights to be able to do that on behalf of the seller. So that AIF document is kind of like a POA. or gives you power of attorney to list the property on behalf of the seller. Like I said, every state is different. Some states you have to get it notarized, some states you don't, but typically you have to get just that signature from that seller. And the proper documentation to be able to do this type of transaction. A lot of listing agents who do have their license or want to make sure that you have that documentation before they list it, so they know that they're not putting their license in jeopardy and stuff. So still want to follow the rules. And there's a lot of legalities in real estate, but for the most part, as long as you just follow the directions and do the right process, it's fine. There's a lot of different things, such as actual realtors that you can just reach out and connect to. Like you can just go on Zillow, find the best realtor in the area, call them. Hey, Mary, this is Juan. I actually seen that you're one of the top agents in Raleigh, and I just want to be able to do some business with you. I actually come across a lot of off-market properties, and I want to know if you can list some of my properties. I am paying the compensation, so I'll pay you, 1 or 2%. 3% off the listing if you can list it for me, whatever they negotiate. Obviously for us, the lower the better. And go from there. I typically don't like doing the realtor outreach though, because I can save money and just go through a flat fee broker and do a flat fee listing. So you pay $100, no more than like $200, you can get it flat fee listed
per listing. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got two options. If you have a motivated seller, and if you don't have access to a cash buyer, you can go the MLS route, right?
That's, in my opinion, is the best disposition tool, because the MLS is where you're going to get the most exposure. You have access to, so the third-party sites like Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor are all linked into the MLS. And obviously, that if anyone's looking for a property or house, we've all been on Zillow before. Even if you're not a homeowner, just to see nice-ass houses, you'll get on Zillow,
Right.
So, that's the best way to, actually disposition your deal or find a buyer for the property. In my opinion, it's better than actually knowing a cash buyer, because typically, once you start doing a lot of deals with the cash buyers, they start counting your pockets and they feel like, man, I'll give you this for this one. They don't want you to make a crazy spread on it. You're actually going to get people who are going to pay more on the MLS. Right. Because you can actually get a retail buyer who might be paying with a conventional loan, FHA loan, VA loan. And also the biggest thing with that is if you want to sell to people who are paying with loans, you have to have the certain contract. So I honestly don't even do a lot of wholesaling. I would say about maybe 15 to 20% of my business is wholesales deals. But most of them, like 80% of my business is novations, or what we actually call RPB, which is retail buyer program. So with the retail buyer program,
which is fairly new, right?
It's fairly new. Sauce.
Fairly new.
We're dropping a lot of sauce right here, right?
Fairly new.
It's new sauce. It's a new method. We reinvented an old method.
Wait, though, Daryl. They can't watch a video from 2-3 years ago to get this knowledge. They can't. This is like new. This is
new sauce.
This just hit the scene. This is big boy music playing.
Yeah.
Big boy music. So put on your headphones. You need to listen. This is big boy news that we spitting right here. Go ahead, tell them about that though.
But the retail buyer program, so I want to first of all shout out Mr. Corey Boatwright, one of my mentors. He actually created the retail buyer program with Sean Terry, two big dogs in the real estate industry, salute to them. But obviously, it's not a lot of people who even know about the retail buyer program. Obviously, if you don't know Corey, then you won't know about it, So what I've seen is he had a system that actually worked and a method that worked that was a lot simpler than doing a novation. So in real estate, they have what they call novations, right? Which is similar to the RPB or retail buyer program. But, with novations, there's a couple different things, such as you have to cancel out the A to B contract and a lot of other stuff that it makes it a lot more difficult. There's some people who've actually tried to do novation deals and didn't get paid on the deal. So imagine doing a deal and not getting paid. You had a potential 20 ball and, just through the process of not knowing how to do it correctly, you fumbled the bag.
Crazy.
Right? So with the retail buyer program, it's a lot easier process, right? You don't have to do a lot of the stuff that you do with a typical novation deal. It's simply, just having the proper documentation, right? And obviously to get access to that documentation, you have to pay to play, right? So I seen, that it worked. I invested into a course to learn how to do the retail buyer program method, and that was the best course I ever invested in, because I made a lot more than I paid for it. Let's just say that.
Facts.
Yeah.
So with even that, right? Yeah. You're basically saying, because we've heard a couple different terms, cash buyers. We've heard retail. We've heard a couple different things, but the one thing about that method is it can be financed, right?
Exactly. That's the biggest thing right there.
Yeah. Finance.
So for example, this is a great day to have this podcast today. I actually had 2 closings today. and one of the closings was actually a retail buyer. So one of them was a regular wholesale deal. I signed the contract over to a cash buyer. It was actually the housing authority, which was pretty cool. So the housing authority in that city actually, did a cash buyer transaction. We assigned the contract over to them. I actually had a partner on this one. This was my boy from back in my hometown. Within 40 days in the industry, he already has his first deal. So that's positive. We made about like 8,200. We split that, on that deal. And the second deal that I closed today was actually a RPB deal, the retail buyer program. So this was a lead that I've got off a pay-per lead for property leads. So the lead was $75. Well, actually, never mind. This one actually came from iSpeed, the lead. So this lead was actually, I think, $29, right? So I texted them. This was mostly a transaction done through text message. It was an inherited property. They inherited it from some family. And they obviously had other properties that they're living in. They just didn't care to, have this one, and they're ready to sell it. Texted them, got them under contract with the retail buyer program contract, and listed the property on the market. I listed it originally for like $125,000. Did a couple. It wasn't getting any hits at the 125. Did a couple price reductions. Dropped it down to like 119. Right when I dropped it to 119, phone started buzzing. Some buyers agents called me, set up like 3 showings they had. Once we had like the third showing, the buyer's agent hit me back, said, "Hey, my client wants to make an offer." Offered me 116.5. We negotiated. So at 116.5. Only thing about that deal, they wanted like the washer and dryer and all of the other stuff. My seller obviously paid out of their pocket for that stuff. They're like, "Man, we ain't trying to give up our washer and dryer and shit. They gonna have to buy their own." I'm like, "Listen, y'all, let's help them out. They trying to get their crib, and they ain't trying to move into a crib without it. Obviously." Facts. And they're like, "Well, we ain't trying to move into one without it neither. We bought it." So, I had to negotiate. I actually first had them under contract for $95,000. And I was like, "Okay, if you leave your washer and dryer and everything, I'll give you $99,500. So I got them under contract for $99,500. Ended up getting the offer off on the market for $116,500. And we closed out today, So off that deal, I made
magic
$12,000 right there.
Magic.
Had it on the market for like 99 days.
Hey, man, if they needed that washer and dryer, I'm the plug on those. You could have just, what I'm saying? I'm talking direct too, but that's another story. But all right, man, close on that one. You said it's 12 and a half?
Yeah. $12,125 to be exact.
Listen, a dozen of eggs ain't cheap these days, B. To get a 12 piece like that.
So I had $12,000 on that deal, and then the other deal I closed today, I made, like I said, $4,137. So $16,000 a day.
That's love.
Yeah,
that's love.
Yeah,
that's love. So listen. We can't give too much sauce today. Mm-hmm. All right, this right here was just a good overview. Mm-hmm. I think we need to get together at another time and go in detail, like a little bit further in detail, because this right here was just kind of skimming the surface, skimming the top, just to tell y'all just from A to Z, not to give you too much details, not to capitalize anything for you, but I mean, you see it's real life talk, right? It's knowledge, of course, it's research. Yeah. With any business, you got to invest not only in the business, but you got to invest in the process.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the most important. And I mean, we've learned that through the years. Yeah.
And what I could say, it's a plug and go system, really. Like I have a lot of testimonials of students that I'm like, look, I only started my real estate journey in June of last year. So June 2024. I haven't even been doing it a year. And today makes 13 deals that I've closed under my belt so far, and that's made it well over 6 figures. So it's definitely been a blessing to just be in
and
the
that's
industry.
June. You 9 months in.
Yeah, so
9 months in, 6+ digits. Like that's major. So I mean, we could talk about testimonies all day, man. You the walking testimony.
But just to know that other people could do it is crazy.
Nah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Other
that's
people can do it
crazy.
too, and these are people that are just starting, like within 2 months of the industry seeing success. I got my boy Drees right there. We actually just got a property on the market. Hey, Drees, come in the camera real quick. We just got a property on the market.
Dreesy. Come on, Dreesy.
Yeah, my brother.
El Dreesio.
We actually got an offer coming today. And we only had it on the market for like a week,
about 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks, okay. Yeah, so going on 2 weeks, and we already got an offer, so about to make that bag.
Hey, but we working though, man. So we got, of course, we got BME Properties right here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He Daryl's doing this thing. I'm I'm actually jumping on board full-fledged now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah.
I'm on board full-fledged now.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make my reveal real soon. But you know how everybody that's watching this, if you know me, right? You already know the bag talk is the bag talk.
The bag.
The bag talk is the bag talk, and we all about that business at the end of the day. So we're going to have more content for you guys. We're going to have more information, more processes, procedures, like everything that you need to complete this journey, whether it's starting, whether it's stalled in the middle for you. Like there's always going to be answers that's going to be coming from me and Daryl. Of course, listen, we all got to learn from somewhere, right? You know what I'm saying? And you can buy these courses and you can listen to these videos. But if you're listening to this one right now, if you're listening, I'm telling you that this updated method is something you can't watch from a real estate video 5-6 years ago. No. Like you just can't, right? It's just a whole nother process. So like I said, we're going to drop the links below. We're going to give you all the information that we just talked about on this podcast. And Daryl, what you got to say in closing, man, for anybody that's watching?
Just, follow me on social media, Instagram, Lil Daryl. Definitely check out my Stand Store. Tap in if you guys want to learn the retail buyer program method. We got the retail buyer program course down below that, you can learn. If you want to JV and do some deals with me, if you're already in real estate or you've already done some deals and you're like, man, I want to do a JV with you, we come break bread over here this way at the B&Me. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we going to do it.
Listen, that's how it is, man. Y'all know how to reach us, CEO Juanito on IG. Listen, follow my boy, Lil Daryl, right? BME as well. BME everything. Like you'll find all of that on this shit. So boom. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There we go. Look at that. We just finished it up, man. Boom. It was just that easy.
Smooth. That was smooth. Good.